Hi, Joe. Thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you on. We've got plenty to talk about with payments, with Resorts World, and gaming in general. A first question for you is, how have you found your time as a CEO of Sightline Payments so far, and what's it like being away from WorldPay after so long?
Well, I tell you what, after 30 years at WorldPay, which provided a great foundation, it's been incredibly exciting to be part of the Sightline organization. When you think about our focus on our people, the innovation, the building out the platform, and the strategic partnerships we've been established, it's been incredibly exciting. I mean, if you think about it, we've almost doubled the size of the organization. We're leading the digital transformation of the gaming industry. We've had a very unique strategic acquisition as it related to a mobile platform, and we continue to build out the strategic partnerships that are incredibly powerful in this industry. And more importantly, it's building out and having the best talent in the industry on the people side. So it's been fun. We've been moving fast. And it's what we've expected, but being able to do so by leveraging and having that entrepreneurial spirit, which is, been the heart of the Sightline organization. Everything I've expected and more, and we're incredibly bullish about what's ahead for the organization.
We're here in large part to talk about the growth of cashless payments, sorry. Can you give us some kind of figures or examples to show how much it has grown in recent times? Because as we all kind of understand, it's been quite a large growth.
Yeah, but if you think about it, Tim, you have the evolution of this expedited movement from a digital perspective with the legalization and permissibility of internet gaming and/or sports betting on a jurisdictional basis. And when you think about, as a result of COVID-19, which became an accelerator for the movement of cashless as it relates to the integrated casino resort and this digital transformation, you have this massive opportunity in the market to truly stitch together the digital side and bring that back down to the integrated casino resorts. What we're seeing is, if you just look at in-store mobile payments acceptance today, that had 29% growth. And then when we take back and we look at the recent studies, about 60% of all casino visitors say they are less likely to use cash. And obviously, when you think about this digital transformation happening in the gaming industry, obviously it's well documented on the growth on the digital side, but working through the adoption, the education, sharing best practices, and truly bringing together of two highly complex industries, the payment industry and the gaming industry, finally converging, and the payment industry infiltrating the land-based casino, we are incredibly bullish about that growth. So it's still very new. You've only had a handful of properties start to engage with cashless acceptance. You have multiple flavors of cashless that's being introduced in the market. And our goal at Sightline is to really unpack those different business models and flavors to crystallize that user experience so everyone understands what does cashless mean. So when you take a look at just the historical and other vertical markets, what mobile has meant, we are very excited about the initial trends and the utilization. We know we have a lot of work to do from an industry perspective in terms of driving that adoption and that seamless user experience. But, we're very excited about where we're at, more importantly, where the industry is going.
You've mentioned a few factors there for kind of this rise, this surge. How much of it has been down to the COVID-19 pandemic recently, and how much of it was already on the rise?
So great question. So I would tell you the industry had already been collaborating. There are many great companies in the industry that play a key role in the evolution in the digital transformation to cashless. I will tell you, conversations had already been ongoing, but as a result of the pandemic, it became an accelerator for many different reasons. That's where you truly started to see alignment with if there was legislative movement needed, movement related to the gaming regulators, the key ancillary service providers, the operators, the networks, everyone within the ecosystem started to collaborate about what might be possible to help transform the industry as a result of the pandemic. And what we've all learned and we've always knew, the gaming industry is very resilient. They found a way to continue to reinvent the business models. How might it be possible to drive a seamless, in a very safe, secure environment, a seamless experience? And COVID became the accelerator of that. So conversations had always been ongoing, but there was never that catalyst to truly drive the motivation to how might this be possible to get it done. And that's what you've seen with, you know, a number of properties, and obviously with Resorts World, that became the first casino to go live, where you can conduct and facilitate a financial transaction anywhere on property and do so via cashless.
Absolutely, that's the perfect segue into my next question. I was going to talk about, obviously, the big announcement was recently with Resorts World, and it opened a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, that kind of thing. And obviously, you mentioned via Sightline's Play Plus solution. When did planning for this partnership start?
Oh man, the collaboration started, you know, quite some time ago. Before the property was even being built, we knew it was going to be built. In the leadership team of Resorts World and all the key providers and ancillary service providers that were going to be a part of this historic event, really centered around how can we be the technology leader? How can we create a smart casino? How can we do things differently that's truly going to provide this safe, secure, seamless environment? And being able to do so that leverages this new technical era that we're in, and truly bringing innovation into the gaming industry in all aspects. And, you know, great companies like, you know, Konami, NRT, Joingo from a mobile platform, of which obviously is part of the Sightline family via acquisition, IGT on the digital side with sports betting. So there was strong collaboration between the industry that started quite some time ago in terms of how could we aid this smart casino and this innovation that was taking place, that I believe will become obviously the accelerator to truly driving cashless throughout the US or North American gaming industry.
Was part of the appeal here the fact that Resorts World Las Vegas is a new property, and so starting from scratch sort of trumps overturning maybe an existing system that worked with kind of older functions?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think having the ability to build this from the ground up, and understanding and having a key strategy of how would payments or cashless become part of that strategy and building out the casino property, I think obviously helped. But what I think it does do is it allows other casino properties or operators, whether you're in a destination resort, in the locals market, or a tribal casino, or what have you, it truly shows the power of innovation and how payments can become the nucleus to provide a seamless experience regardless of the point of interaction, whether it's on the digital side, whether it's back down in the brick and mortar on the gaming floor, on the non-gaming floor. And how can I start to drive consumer engagement or patron engagement, and doing so via that mobile device and that mobile app, which is part of, Tim, it's part of our everyday life. And everything we do, that mobile phone and those apps drive engagement. And it allowed Resorts World sets the stage for the gaming industry to understand, what is my digital strategy? How can I drive lifetime player value? How can I drive better acquisition? What becomes that instrument that constantly gives me a way to engage with the patron or the consumer? That's the mobile app and the mobile device. And that's what Resorts World does, is to really allow that new era or this new innovation to start to play out. And it gives us all the ability to see this being done in a true omni-channel environment at Resorts World.
Now, there's no real overstating. This is quite a huge project. Can you talk us through the process of kind of making it happen from the development stage to very much through to making it a reality?
Yeah, I mean, again, everyone has, I think it was the strong leadership team of Resorts World. They had great clarity and a vision. They had great clarity in what the strategy would look like. They chose best in breed partners. Everyone clearly knew what their role and responsibility, and then the ability to bring that collaboration on literally daily and weekly calls on how might this be possible to stitch all this technology and this innovation together, then being able to, how can we provide that in a very seamless experience back to the consumer? So the process is very simple. You have to download the app, you enroll in the program, the Gentings Reward, you get credentialized, and then obviously you can fund the account by opening up the Play Plus account. So it's a very seamless process of download the app, enroll, you get credentialized, and then you have the ability to fund and seamlessly move money in and out of that account, whether it's funding a slot machine, a table game. I want to move winnings back into my financial account, and then I want to go use it at retail, hospitality, maybe at the sports book. So really having that clarity and vision and strategy and being able to drive that collaboration obviously is a testament and a compliment to the Resorts World leadership team. And that's where it all started, and a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of sweat equity, a lot of spirited debates on how might this be possible to create the best user experience that's never been seen before in the gaming industry.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, you touched on this earlier. Do you see Resorts World and this partnership transforming the industry as a game changer, or will there still be an element of a large portion of the audience eventually going back to cash once they kind of gain a sense of, I guess you could say, normality?
No, I think this truly is going to drive the transformation of the industry. I mean, it's going to take a very disciplined approach. It's going to take time. There's going to be a lot of thought leadership, a lot of education, whether it's on the regulatory side or the consumer side. There's going to have to be strong collaboration of all the key partners within the industry. So it's going to take time to truly get consumers or patrons to understand the value add, understand the utility, understand the benefits of how can I seamlessly move money in and out, things of that nature. So this isn't like turning on a light switch and the industry changes. No different than when the industry went from coin to Tito. It's going to be a nurturing process and a lot of education. But what I will tell you is when everyone starts to understand the benefit about that consumer engagement and the ability to truly provide and create a single player identity, regardless of their doing activity online, on the gaming floor, or off the gaming floor, the ability of now to connecting with the consumer or patron is much different than it was before, given the anonymous nature of cash. The ability of having and conducting and facilitating cashless activity now allows you to have a nice audit trail of every single transaction, of the behavior, understanding the DNA of who you are. What are your preferences? How can I better incentivize you? What are your motivations? So it truly is going to transform the industry, but it's going to take time, and it's going to take a very disciplined approach in terms of how we get there. And that is what Sightline has helped lead, amongst with many other great companies that play their unique role in the space. But we feel very bullish about the evolution of where this industry is going, and you are not going to see a course correction where everything starts to revert back to cash. Think about our everyday lives in terms of how we conduct and facilitate commerce. Everything is done via that mobile device or via done in a cashless environment, because you already have inherited consumer protections that already exist within the payment ecosystem. Now that's obviously being converging with the gaming industry. So a lot of movement, very exciting. but we know there's still a lot of heavy lifting that needs to take place, a lot of education, and we're in it for the long haul. So we're going to be there.
Absolutely. A final topic I wanted to discuss with you, Joe, and you mentioned the audit trail just then, and I think that might link to this in some way. I wanted to bring in kind of responsible gambling because it's a topic we cover a lot. It's central to the industry. When it comes to cashless, it's been raised a couple of times. Can digital payments help players gamble more responsibly, or is there inevitably kind of an added risk of a temptation to spend more because, say, if a player's got chips and cash, they might budget for the evening, whereas with cashless there might be more of a chance to say, I've gone over my budget, I can deposit more.
Yeah, I would tell you, obviously, we will always keep a mindful eye in regards in responsible gaming is one of the key pillars at Sightline. Whenever you introduce a new solution, new innovation to an industry, you want to understand the impact. I will tell you, the ability to conduct a financial transaction and doing so in a cashless environment provides that audit trail. There are inherited velocity and controls that are embedded within the payment ecosystem. The ability to do self-monitoring. I can set my own controls. I can set my own budget, my own limit. Also, what we all have to remember is the financial institution, whether I'm using a debit card or a credit card in this example, the financial institution or my bank actually sets the limits of how much can I use for some type of gaming and or wagering activity. So there's already a consumer protection built in. And in that example, if I, Joe Pappano, had a $20,000 open to buy limit on my credit card, only a small portion of that would be able to be used in some form of gaming and or wagering type activity. The way the ecosystem works, why we have MCC codes, and that could be a whole different discussion. But you have all these, I call it a belt and suspender approach, the self-monitoring. You take a look at all the tools and the resources that casinos have had for years in regards to education and awareness. But when you have the anonymous nature of cash, and now you have the ability to audit the activity of what Joe Pappano is doing on multiple different cards at multiple different properties, and being able to aggregate that up creates a much different, what we believe, a much more responsible way to conduct any form of gaming and or wagering activity with the automation or providing a digital cashless type environment based on a lot of the controls that already exist.
Well, Joe, thank you very much for your time, answers, and analysis. Good luck at Sightline and with the Resorts World project as well.
Much appreciated. Thanks for having me, and good luck, and talk to you soon.